That's right. Trying to change my reputation.
Yeah.
I'll do it slowly.
That's why we don't have to do it.
That's right. Okay, 84A. 84A. Marber of Ashi Amar Kra. Chaya Oof. Ma Chaya Eino Kadosh. Af Oof Eino Kadosh. So Marber of Ashi is coming to tell us, compare a wild animal to a bird. And just like a Chaya Eino Kadosh, meaning you cannot bring up a wild animal onto the altar, so too in Oof Eino Kadosh. Now, not all birds, some birds are brought up on the altar, but we're comparing these two. So imachaya she'ein b'mina. So we want to say that just like a chaya, which is not holy, can't be brought up on the altar, so to a bird should have the mitzvah, I believe, of kisui hadam. A regular wild animal doesn't get brought up on the altar. So to a regular bird, not the dove and the pigeon, also are not going to be holy. Therefore, imachaya she'ein b'mina kodesh af on Af of she'ein min hakodesh, otzi turnu b'nei Yona she'yesh b'min hakodesh. So we want to compare the two and say that they're also obligated in the mitzvah of kisui hadam. The problem is we say, but a chaya, a wild animal, doesn't have anyone in its group. Any of the wild animals are not going to be holy. So to a bird. But a bird's not like that. So we exclude the doves and the pigeons that they do have, obviously in their family, their birds are fit for the altar. So therefore they're not going to have the mitzvah of Kisvei Adam. Says lo kichaya. Ma chaya lo chilakteba af of lo taklakbo. No. Just like a wild animal, there's no difference. They're all not included in the mitzvah of kisui hadam. So too, all the birds are also not included in the mitzvah of kisui hadam. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. They are included. Yeah, thank you. There's like a chaya. It's not sanctified, but it is included in kisui hadam. So to a bird is also going to be obligated in kisui hadam. But birds have some birds are obligated. So the Gemara says, no, we're not differentiating. Just like a wild animal, it's not able to be brought on the altar, but yet it is obligated in kisui hadam. So to the birds, even though there are some birds that are obligated to be brought up on the altar, but still they are still obligated in kisui hadam. We're not going to differentiate. Okay. So now, Amar le Yaakov Mina le Rava. Yaakov Mina says to Rava, Kai Malan Chaya Bechlal Behema le Simanin. So now I'm going to show you that a domesticated animal, when it says the word Chaya, wild animal in the Torah, well, a wild animal is included in domesticated animals in terms of which pipes to slaughter. What's considered a valid slaughtering. So a wild animal, when it says behema in the Torah, a wild animal is included. So maybe it should also be exempt from kisvei adam. All it says in the Torah, coming up in 2 weeks from now, it says kol behema, any animal, and included any animal in that case is even a wild animal in terms of how you should slaughter it. So so since a wild animal is included in a domesticated animal in terms of its signs of what you have to slaughter to make it kosher, so say that a behema is b'chal chai l'kisui. When the Torah obligates a wild animal in covering the blood, say a domesticated animal is included in that, because we see sometimes there's general words for animals. Behema in that case was referring to all animals, not specifically domestic. So go the other way. When it says chaya, which is a wild animal, say it includes all animals and include a domesticated animal in that and obligated in the covering of the blood. Amar le alech amar kra ala aretz tishbechenu kamayim ma mayim lo ba'ikisui av ha'inami lo ba'ikisui. Says the Gemara that ala aretz tishbechenu. The verse says that you can't eat the blood. Rather, it spills on the ground like water. So just like water, and that's talking about an animal. That's talking about what? A behemoth, yeah. That's talking about a behemoth. And it says by a behemoth, by a domestic animal, that it's comparing its spilling of its blood on the ground to water, just like water does not require covering the blood. So too so too here the domestic animal does not require covering the blood. Says the Gemara now that you're comparing blood to water, how far are you going to go? Elamayata, according to that reasoning, that when it says you should spill the blood, it spills on the ground like water. So we're comparing blood to water and therefore not obligating it in covering the blood. Well, could you use it as a mikvah? Elamayata yad vilubo. Maybe you should be able to use the blood as a mikvah. We know blood is considered one of the 7 liquids, so it could be a mikvah. Amar Kra, no, ach ma'ayan ubor mikvah mayim yeh tahor. No, it says only a ma'ayan is going to be a spring, a bor is going to be a pit, and a mikvah is going to be a mikvah, a gathering of water. Yeah. So only those things are used as a mikvah. Honey and midachrini lo. Only these, yeah. Others no, and these are all full of water, not full of blood. So using some kind of thing of blood will not be good for your mikvah. It'll be pretty gross. Yeah. But apparently we didn't care about that part. So the Ema Maeve Snagamar says, 1 second. Maybe these exclusions are only excluding certain things, but not coming to exclude using a bloodbath as a mikvah. The Ema Hani Mili Limute Shar Mashkin, the Loi Krimayim, of Aldami Krimayim Hakanami. Maybe this verse only including other things that aren't considered official liquids in terms of impurity, things like that. But blood is considered one of the liquids, so therefore maybe it's included. Says Gemara, no, Tremute Ksiva, there's 2 exclusions. Siv Mayan Maim Ubor Maim. It says a spring of water, it says a pit of water. So one's coming to exclude things that are not liquids, and one's coming to exclude blood. Says Gemara, maybe both exclusions, maybe both exclusions are all coming to exclude things that are not one of the liquids. Chad lemute zoch, and one's coming to exclude flowing water. So you have a mikveh that has part rainwater, and other part's going to be flowing in. We're excluding that, and chad lemute michunasin, and one's coming to exclude just gathered water, not by as opposed to flowing water. So it's coming to exclude both of them. So and therefore, but there's no exclusion for blood. Says the Gemara, no, there's one more exclusion. Klata mute ksivi ma'ayan mayim ubor mayim mikveh mayim. 3 exclusions. One coming to exclude the rest of the waters that are not considered official liquids. One coming to exclude, one coming to the rest of liquids when it comes to flowing water. The rest of liquids when it comes to water that's already gathered. And the third one coming to exclude blood. So you cannot use the blood as a mikvah, that's excluded. And that's that. Taner Rabbanan Asher Yatzud. Now a little bit of we're going to see some good financial advice coming up and some good eating advice. Perfect after a fast. I don't know if that counts as part of your, how to eat after a fast. I don't know. Taner Rabbanan Asher Yatzud, that one should when a person's eating, Asher Yatzud, say one's going to trap a chaya or an oaf, and it's the pasuk of the and then you spill the blood, you got to cover over the blood. But in that verse, it's just Asher Yatzud that you're going to trap. So Ainli El Asher Yatzud. So it sounds like the only mitzvah of covering the blood is animals that you have to go and trap. But animals that are already, so to speak, trapped, because they walk like snails, yeah. Nitzodim v'omdin me'alein minayin kegon avazim v'tarnagolim. So geese and roosters. I don't know. To me, sometimes chicken, not geese. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Chickens and roosters.
Chickens and geese. Geese and chicken.
Goes a rooster.
Well, maybe they just take the geese with the translation.
Oh. Okay, geese and chicken. Maybe chicken means rooster also. Yeah. So Avazin is geese and Tarnagolin is rooster. Okay, maybe it means chicken too. Fine. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So to me, those things are pretty fast if you chase them or they chase you. But they're considered. You have to do so much trapping. They're already really there for you, as opposed to a wild animal you have to run after. Chase a deer or something. So Talmud Lomar. So maybe those animals are not included in the mitzvah of covering the blood. Talmud Lomar, the verse repeats the word again, tzayid, trapping, to teach you mikomakon, really any kind of trapping, whether you have to go out of your way and really go trap it, or whether it's really there for you and they're really sort of trapped on their own. You have to do minimal effort. Both of those are included in the mitzvah of covering of the blood. Im kain ma tamlomer asher yotzud. Okay, very simple question. I don't understand. If on the one hand you told me that even a chicken is included and it's already like trapped on its own because it's right there for you and it doesn't run as fast as a deer, and that's included in the mitzvah of trapping, of covering the blood. So what do you need the pus to tell you the one that you should go and trap? So if the other one's already included, so for sure the one you have to trap is included. So it says, you're right. You're right. Rather, it's teaching you proper behavior. Lamda Torah derech eretz lo yochel adam basar ela behazmana hazos. Meaning, you shouldn't have meat always readily available to always eat meat. Don't indulge so much in meat. You should only eat meat when you have to go exert effort. So when you get the extra paycheck or things like that. But always to have it readily available. That's not the most proper. So, okay. Taner Rabbanan ki yarchav Hashem as gevulcha. Also coming up in a few weeks. When Hashem goes and it's going to expound your borders. Correct. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's more expensive. Yeah. These fuckers has more effort. So when God expands your borders, like He told you, and you're going to say, "I want to eat meat because I desire it." So now the Gemara says, it's only when Hashem's going to expound your borders are you going to have His desire to eat meat. So the verse says, when you desire to eat meat, so you should only eat meat when you have a desire for it. So it shouldn't just always be there for you, just for breakfast, can have some meat. So when you really desire for it, then you should go have it. So so maybe a person should always go to the shuk, to the marketplace, and just buy himself meat. That's what you should spend your money on. Talmud lomar v'zavachta mibekarcho mitzonecha. So rather it says you should go and slaughter it. Meaning, if you have it available in your pen in the back, some meat, some chicken, so go. But if not, don't go to the marketplace and buy it. If you have it available, have it. But if not, don't go spending extra on the meat. Yachol yizavach kol bechar v'yochel kol tzon. Yachol yizavach kol bechar v'yochel kol tzon v'yochel. Maybe you think, okay, so I should eat all my cattle, all my flock. If I have it, I should eat all of it. No, you should have only some of it from your cattle, from your flock, not the whole thing. You should eat the whole thing. Leave some, have a little bit. So you only have one. Rashi points out, don't eat that one. If you have one ox, don't have it for your meat. Mikan amar Belazar ben Azari mi sheyesh lo mana. If you only have one mana, which I think is 100 dinner, yikach lefaso litra yerek. You should gather. I think lefaso is for your pot, for your food, for his pot. Yeah, you should buy some vegetables. Yeah, buy litra of vegetables. Asara mana if you have 10 mana. So yikach lefaso litra dagim. So buy for yourself a litra of fish. If you have chamishim mana, you're really a millionaire over here. Yeah, you have 500 dinner. You have chamishim mana. Yikach lefaso litra basar. Then, but only then, you should really spend money on the meat. Buy a litra of meat. If you have meya mana, you're really rolling in dough. So then you tafsalo kedera b'chol yom. So then you should put for yourself a pot of for meat, right? Yeah, then you have that much, and then you can cook a pot every day of meat. So now the people that don't have so much money, that only have either 10 mana or 50 mana. So sounds like if they're not going to eat meat every day. So we said if you have 10, you should buy fish. If you have 50, you should buy meat. But then we said if you had 100, you should have meat every day. But one second, if you don't have that, but you're still buying the meat, when should you eat it? Ve'inach emas. So when should you eat it? Erev Shabbos, Erev Shabbos. You save it for Shabbos. Save that fish for Shabbos. Save that meat for Shabbos. Amarav tzrichan l'lochos divrei zaken. We should really we should heed to the words of the elder, which is Rabbi Dovid ben Gleizer. I think some explain because he became an elder at 18, right? By the Pesach story, he got white hair at 18 when he became the leader. So he's more respected. So you should listen, heed the words of the elder. So and follow his lead and don't have even if you're able to acquire some fish or some meat, but really save it for Shabbos. I'm Rabbi Yochanan. So Abba, meaning Abba's referring to Rav, usually it's Rav, who's from an earlier generation. So he's min mishpachas briim have. So he's from a more healthy, a stronger bone, healthier family, meaning they lived in they're much stronger. Aval kegon anu, but we're a little weaker, our generation. So mishi yesh lo pruta betel kiso, you're ten lechanvani. If you have only one pruta in your pocket, go to the money changer and go buy meat with that. But because you're gonna need it for your health. It's talking about meat, no? Oh, just proper nourishment. No, so in this case, okay. In this case, sorry. One second, but Rav didn't speak. Where was Rav? 1 second. When did you mention Rav? So meaning back then you could we didn't mention Rav. Back then you could wait a little bit longer to eat. You don't have to eat so much, but we are a weaker generation. He's saying, and therefore, if you have any money, go exchange it and get some food because we need to be healthy. Amar of Nachman kigon anu. We're even weaker than that. Even if you have no money, too bad. Go borrow and eat. Kigon anu lavin va'ochlin. You have to borrow money and eat because we're not going to be able to survive as long without food.
We're just talking about food, not just meat.
Yeah, not just meat. But so he mentions Rav, but when did we mention Rav? Oh, I'm a Rav. Yeah, sorry. That's what it was. The five words before that. Rav says we should heed the words of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, who said that only when you have, a manna, 100 dinner, then buy yourself some vegetables. And if you have more than that, then buy yourself some fish. If you have more than that, so it sounds like if you don't have that money, and even if you have money, but not that much money, wait off. You don't have to eat so much. Wait to buy your vegetables. And Rav said we should follow Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah and follow this method of only buying vegetables when you have X amount and fish when you have X amount. To that, Rabbi Yochanan saying no, we're too weak to do that. Even if you have one pruta, go buy yourself whatever you need to eat. And to that, Rav Nachman saying even if you have no money, we borrow and eat because we're not able to survive as long without food. Okay, it says in Mishlei, Kivasim lil vushecha, so you should have your sheep for your clothing, and then it says, so migeis kasim yima mal vushecha, from the shearing of from the wool, the shearing of your sheep, that's where your clothing should come from. And then the end of the verse says, umechir sada atudim, and the selling of your field should be in the future. So no, it should be from the flock. Yeah, from the machir sada atudim. You should sell your field and buy flocks. Thank you. You should sell your field and buy flocks. But you shouldn't sell your flock and buy a field. That you shouldn't do. So business advice. The dai chalav. So the pasuk says, "V'dei chalev izim." It says, "Enough is your the milk of the goats." V'dei chalev izim. So dai adam she is parnes chalav gedim. It's enough for you to be self-sufficient from the milk of the goats. Utelayim shebesoch beso, and the sheep in your and the sheep inside your house. That should be enough to keep you going. So then it says, "L'lachem chol lechem." Like for the bread is the bread. What does that mean? Lechem beisecha. So lachem kodem lelechem beisecha. So, what, the bread for your servants? Whose food?
Your own food.
Oh, lachem, yeah, lachem comes before the food of your household. Okay. V'chayim l'narusecha, and life is literally for the youth, meaning for your family in your house. Limdecha Torah derech eretz, lo yilamid adam as bino basar v'yayin. So you should not accustom the children to having to having meat and wine. A little bread suffices. Meat and wine comes for special occasions, not a daily thing. Every day you have to go to restaurants every single day. So if you live in Portland, it's not a problem. So, but yeah. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, next page. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, harotza sheis asher. Okay, everyone's listening now. You want to get rich, so yasok in Bitcoin. No, yasok behemadaka. You should go and work with a small animal. Okay, one second. Now, why is that going to get you rich? Raising small animals because what? They're very. So yeah, everyone needs them. Everyone's going to need them. So you put effort into raising things that everyone needs. So you're going to get rich. Oh,
raising them is conducive to retaining wealth.
That you can also just have ultra orthodox person move in. No, also rapidly. They multiply rapidly. So yeah, yeah, 13 under 38. Right? So Amar Rav Chisda Ma'idich. What does it say in the verse in Devarim? I think this is this week's parsha. There you go, Steve. So it says you're going to have a havcha uberacham here, but uberacham a pre-bindachah. You get some all these blessings, and then you're going to have one of the blessings is the ashros tzonecha. So you're going to have the you're going to rich from the flock. So the ashros means shema asros as balei, and they make rich their owners, the flock. These are very needed animals. Everyone's going to need flock, so that's going to make you rich. B'amar Rabbi Yochanan, it says kisei de charoshin below kisei de poshin. I don't know how to translate charoshin. I wasn't sure. This is for to get rid of sorcery. So it's better to have a cup of sorcery. Is that what it is? Oh, charoshin, like a hair, like they do secret things. Yeah, that's what it is. It's better to have a cup of sorcery and not a cup of lukewarm water, because that's very bad for the body. Okay. Right. Yeah, he'll be here soon. You can tell him.
Yeah.
August 11th. So v'hani mili b'kli mateichos. B'kli. No, don't. Because Dan's going to say he's smarter than the Gemara. It's going to get a whole philosophical debate. Yeah. So we don't want that. Just tell him he's smart. Yeah. So v'hani mili b'kli mateichos. B'kli cheres leslan. But that's only by a metal vessel. By an earthenware vessel, you can have lukewarm water. That's obviously what Dr. Elder meant, right? So ubekli matekas nami lo amrin ela delo, that delo shadi bahu tzivya. Aval shadi bahu tzivya less lanba. But on a metal vessel, we said you shouldn't have lukewarm water. That's only when you didn't throw in, I think, any coloring. What? Yeah, herbs. Yeah, like tseva. Tseva is a coloring, so some kind of herbs that were going to color the water. Aval shadi bahu tzivya. But if you put in some of the herbs, that then there's no problem. Says more v'chilo shali beitzivya nami lo amrin ela delo tzitz aval tzitz less than ba. And even when you didn't put in herbs, we still didn't forbid the lukewarm water in the metal vessel. Ela delo tzitz aval tzitz less than ba. That's only when you didn't boil the water first. If you boil the water first, probably because that cleans it out from different things, the boiling of the water. So that's fine. So if you didn't boil the water and it's in a metal vessel and you didn't put in herbs, so then better a cup of sorcery than that. That means 7 o'clock today, right? You didn't make it earlier today, right? They didn't make it like 6:55 or something like that, right? I don't have my head to choose. Some announcement like that. It's regular, right? I think it's regular. Okay, yeah, good. So fine. I don't know, I have my head earlier, 5 minutes earlier. So, okay. So now, parental advice. Amar Rabbi Yochanan says, Rabbi Yochanan. I think it's regular. Yeah. My head's mistaken me. Well, okay. So, fine. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, mi she'eniach la'aviv mos, someone who just generous father leaves over some money. So then, Virotze la'avdan, and you want to just go to the Kesser chat, it's pinned at the top. Chapter 7 o'clock. Yeah, 6 we already missed it. Yeah. So, if a person wants the father leaves over money, and you want to lose the money, So what should you do? How do you lose your father's money? Good advice. Yilbash kli pishtan. You should wear clothing of flax, which are expensive. So v'yishtamish b'kli schuchis. Use nice glass vessels. V'yiskor polim, and hire workers, but don't sit with them. Don't supervise them. Val yeshev imahen. Don't sit with them. So now, what does it mean? Yilbash kli pishtan, wearing clothing of flax, is bekitna romaisa, is like the Roman coats. That's very. One time I was 10, 11 years old, and we were in San Francisco, and my father told me I can go in and check out Saks Fifth Avenue.
Oh.
So I walked in, and they told me their coats are on sale. So I said, how much? It was down to like $20,000. Would you like to try it on? So I said, yes. I have no intention of buying it. But yeah, so you want to buy a Saks Fifth Avenue, that's a way to lose your parents' money. So Bekidna Ramaisa, Yishtamish Bekli Schuchis, using a glass vessel, is Bizugisa Kivarta, some kind of a pair.
None of these glass utensils you refer specifically for white glass, which is
White,
exorbitantly expensive.
white glass. Okay. What's white glass? I don't know. Okay. So special glass called white glass. You'll fill me in later what that is. What is that? Brachos 31A. Okay. Aren't you up there? No, you passed that already? You've forgotten that, right? So v'yischar poalim. What does it mean? You should hire, if you want to lose money, lose your father's money, so then hire worker. What it means is the al yeshiv. That's referring to beturi, the nafish psidayu. That refers to oxen. That they're if you don't watch them, they can go wild and damage other people's fields. So you have to supervise them. So 3 times it's a wild ox now, you have to kill it. So if it harms somebody. So Darish Ravira Zimnin Amar Le Mishmeder of Ami. Sometimes we said in the name of Rav Ami, but Zimnin Amar Le Mishmeder of Asi, and sometimes in the name of Rav Asi. What does the verse say in Tehillim? Tov Ish Chonein Umalve Yechalkel Dor. Good is a person, the graceful person who lends money and sustains with justice. So what does that mean? La'olam Yochal Adam v'yishteh pachos mima sheyeshlo. A person should always drink. Yochal Adam v'yishteh. You should eat and drink pachos mima sheyeshlo, from less than what you have. Don't use up all your money on food and drink. The yilbash v'yischase b'ma sheyeshlo, and you should dress yourself with that which you have. So you shouldn't be embarrassed. You shouldn't have to. When it comes to eating or drinking, whatever your budget is, have a little bit less. You should be a little bit less. When it comes to getting dressed, no, don't dress a little bit less. You shouldn't walk around with embarrassment. You have to have some self-respect. When it comes to your wife and your kids, it's like, right. You should honor your wife with more than what you have. Yeah, you should with more than what you have. I think there is one opinion. I don't know. We follow this. One opinion says that your wife needs something, you should go take it out alone. Meaning, don't underestimate her needs. She needs something, you have to go get it. So now, why is there such an emphasis on supporting the wife and the children with more than what you have? Because they shehein taluyin bo, right? Especially in a society where it was less common for them to work, they're really dependent on you, taluyin bo, and you v'hu tali b'mish amar v'haya ha'olam. And who are you dependent on? Yeah, good ethical teaching. You're dependent on the one who said the world should be created. So they're dependent on you, and you're dependent on Hashem. So therefore, you should take extra care of them. So okay. Darish Rav Eina a pischa de Reish Galusa. Rav Eina said it at the house of Reish Galusa. Oh, so now hashochet lechola b'Shabbos. So one who's sick. There's a whole Gemara Kollel in the beginning. Hashochet lechola b'Shabbos. So now we're back to covering the blood. So now you slaughtered for a sick person on Shabbos. So now says the Gemara, chayiv lechasos. You are obligated in covering over the blood. Now, I think here, very interesting debate. So Rashi explains But very interesting. Rashi explains that the reason why you're obligated in covering over the blood, and this really gets into this mitzvah a little bit, is because it's really part of slaughtering. How do you understand the mitzvah of covering the blood? It's a totally separate thing. There's something called, before you eat, you got to slaughter. Fine, that's one. Number two is a totally separate requirement, nothing to do with it. There's the mitzvah of covering the blood, but they're not dependent at all on each other. They have no relation to each other. It just happens to be, it comes after slaughtering. But Rashi says here, very interesting Rashi, that the same way you have a dispensation, that when someone's sick on Shabbos, you do whatever you need, you slaughter. And we would have thought, okay, that's it, just slaughtering. You can't do more. You can't cover the blood for them. Says Rashi, that same dispensation on a biblical level will apply to covering the blood. It sounds like you can do a biblical act on Shabbos, like you can dig a pit on Shabbos to take that dirt and use it. Biblical. You can violate a biblical act for the mitzvah of covering the blood because it's part of the dispensation of slaughtering for a sick person. Meaning, it sounds like according to Rashi, that these two things are interconnected. Covering the blood is part of shechita. It's not a separate thing. There's a big question when you make the bracha, right? So we would have thought that you can slaughter, and then at whatever point afterwards you want to cover the blood up with the dirt. So then you make the blessing on the covering the blood. But some say you can't have a break. You have to cover the blood right away after. So there could be no break between. And when would you make the blessing? So I think some say you make the blessing before. Okay, I have to look it up. But the point is that others interpret, or probably most others interpret that, no, there's no way you can do a biblical act to get the dirt for covering the blood. That's not what it says. Rather, what you do is it's a rabbinic act. If the only problem is extra exertion or maybe muktzah or things like that, then you could take the dirt and cover it up. But not because it's the same reason why you can shecht for a sick person. Shechting for a sick person is a biblical allowance that for a sick person we allow you to do what you need. But yeah. So yeah.
Spill the blood. You can't cover it.
On a biblical level, correct. According to other commentaries. But according to these commentaries, that you could. So, Sephardi party today. Yeah. It's hard to feel sad when a Sephardi person has a yard site because you know you're going to get like amazing food. But we just learned you can't eat so much. You have to eat a little less than you're so perfect.
Was it less than more?
No, just in general in life.
Life?
Yeah. Sorry to burst your bubble. Yeah, but it says when you dress,
it was very challenging.
When you dress, you should dress normal. So that's good. You're good.
I'm dressing good.
But it says for the kids, you have to do more. So yeah, okay. So either way, Amar Lahu, Rabba says that this is unacceptable. The statement of you can cover over the blood on Shabbos. So Amar Le Rabba, he is astonished by the statement. So he says Ishtume Kamar. So he says that this is a wonderment. This is you have to get this out of here. Lishmatu le'amore minei. Either it means cut off his tongue, right? Which probably means, get him to stop teaching. Or sometimes they had an amora. Amora is, we had a Gemara Chulin that, Ukim amora v'darish. You had an interpreter. So you would have someone next to you where you would say, and they would project your teachings. So he would say, get that guy out of here also. Basically, it's a way of saying that this statement is wild, and therefore we cannot teach this. Okay, it's going to be a new section now. I guess we'll start with that. Make Jules happy or upset. I don't know. What should we do? It's really a new section with one long run on until the next page. Maybe just for the sake of clarity, we'll stop here and then we'll do a run on tomorrow. Yeah. For your mother, right?
No, I can't use the same stickies.
Oh, yeah?
It says yes, sign here.